Considering how Israel rebelled. These topics are always good to go back over. You know, we've gone over a lot of different topics over the years, and we have to revisit these topics. And if we don't, we'll forget. And it's very easy during the time of us worshiping the Most High, or just day-to-day life where you just get tired, you don't feel like praying, you don't feel like, you know, walking in the truth the way you should be doing. You get lazy. The worries of life just take you down. You can't get like that. You got to always knock yourself out. The good thing about the scriptures is once you sit down and start reading the scriptures will listen. The scriptures will talk to you. You know, they will talk to you. And so you have to go into the scriptures and always get yourself revamped and you know, put life back into your system. This is why we have our Bibles. I mean, imagine if we was in a world where we didn't have a Bible. We had to go to a minister every time we wanted to hear the word. We have Bibles in this time and age where we could just read the word, which is a blessing. So, first thing I want to do is go to Colossians chapter 3. And let's go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. Make sure you have your Bibles. Make sure you have your notepad and your highlighters. So we're going to go to Colossians 3 and 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Abanawa by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushai. All praises to him. We thank the Most High. We ask him for his mercy all day long. Okay? So the first thing we're going to go to is Psalms 107. And we're going to start at verse 11 because Israel's rebellion is just crazy. You know what? I'm going to switch it up real quick. Let's first start off with the word of the Most High has came upon his prophets. Okay? So let's go to Isaiah chapter 1 first. That's the way it always works. You have something written out and Spirit takes you just that quick. Isaiah chapter 1. Most of y'all know this chapter. But Isaiah chapter 1, it says the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos. So the Most High gave Isaiah what? A vision, a prophecy. He gave him an awakening. Okay? It says, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, and Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth. For the Most High have spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. See that? So he said, give ear, O earth. That's why it's very important. You can't get this unless you have ears to hear or eyes to see. If you can't get that, then you ain't paying attention. So there was a vision that came to Isaiah, and this is what he said. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib, but Israel doth not know. My people do not consider. And we see that today in these times. You can wear a shirt that says the 12 tribes of Israel like we do. No, you know, nobody will ask you what that means. They'll look at it and just look at it and won't say nothing about it. Just look at the 12 tribes of Israel. They won't come ask you a question like, who is the 12 tribes of Israel? Why do you wear that shirt called 12 Tribes of Israel? Or where is that church located? No one asks questions. That's why he says they do not consider. They don't even consider. You say, oh, I don't eat pork. Why don't you eat pork? They don't want to know that. Oh, you don't eat pork? Okay. They don't consider. It says, all sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, laden with evil, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Most High. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backwards. This is our people today. Why should you be stricken any more? Yea, will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick. He said the whole head is sick. Not one of us got the truth the way we should. Not one of us are walking like we should. It says all of us as a nation are sick. Look at our people. Look around our people. Our people are sick. In all these diverse laden sins, man. They think everything is okay. They don't second guess it. Weed is okay. Oh, I'm gonna grow marijuana plants. That's okay. You know, I'm gonna be a contributor. That's okay. I'm a, you know, I don't care. You know, I'm just gonna hang out with my homosexual friend. He ain't doing nothing to me. It's okay. What does the Most High want you to do? Does he want you to hang out with your homosexual friend and not tell him about the truth? You gotta tell him. You can't ignore it, because that person will lead you straight down the path to hell. They don't care. They don't consider. You know the truth now. You can't follow what they do. That's why he says they don't even consider. They clap their hands because the sin is getting greater and greater. Clapping their hands. Right? It says, and the whole heart is faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and what? Purifying sores. Petrifying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. I don't know if y'all seen people with sores. They try to put stuff over the counter into the sores and it don't heal. Sometimes you got to go to the doctor to get the right ointment to close up a sore. Okay? And that's the way the Most High is saying his people are. They're trying to cover it up by going to certain churches and listening to different sermons, and the sermons don't do nothing for you. It's just feel good. It's all feel good stuff, but it's not patching up the hole. That's why you hear a lot of people say, man, I had a hole in my chest, man. Something wasn't right. I couldn't get it. I needed something more. You know what I mean? And that's what the Most High is saying. Let's go to Amos. Let's go to the book of Amos. And I want to go to Amos, and let's go to the 7th chapter. I gotta find it. Amos 7, and yeah, I circled it. Let's go to Amos 7 and 14. Amos 7 and 14. And what the Most High was doing during those times was he was giving brothers and sisters visions. Like he said in Joel 2 and 27, your sons and daughters will dream dreams and have visions. That's what these prophets were having visions of who? Of their people. Of their people. They were pro-Israel. Pro-12 tribes of Israel. They didn't care about nobody else. You notice all the prophets that he woke up, they wasn't going hand in hand with the other people. They were all pro-Israel, every last one of them. Think about that. All right? Amos 7 and 14. Then answered Amos and said to Amaziah, I was no prophet, neither was I a prophet's son, but I was a herdsman and a gatherer of a sycamore fruit. This is what Amos was. He said, man, I wasn't a prophet. Just like we say, man, I was just working. I was in the world, man. I wasn't tripping off this place. I was just trying to make some money. This is what Amos was saying. He's like, I'm just a regular dude, man. I'm a sycamore fruit gatherer. But the Most High woke him up. The Most High gave him a vision. It says, and the Most High took me as I followed the flock. And the Most High said unto me, go, prophesy unto my people, Israel. That's what he said, man. Did he say go to anybody else? No, he said go prophesy to my people, Israel. So this is the same thing that we see going on with the prophets, with the people today. You know, we got to wake up, man, and understand what the Most High is trying to do. He wants us to wake up and wake up his people. You know what I mean? Let's go to the book of Acts. Go to the book of Acts.
9 and 16, 9 and 15, 9 and 16.
Okay. Okay, I don't think that's it, but it says, but the Lord, this is Acts 9 and 15. I don't think this is it, though. It says, but the Most High, this is 15, but the Most High but the Most High said unto him, Go thy way, for he is chosen vessel unto me to bear my name before the Gentiles, and kings, and the children of Israel. For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. All right? So, I mean, this is not the actual verse that I was looking for, but he was kicking against the pricks, right? And when he kicked against the pricks, what did he tell Paul? Go and teach to the children of Israel. And tell them that I sent my son to be a sacrifice for them to have mercy and favor and what? Salvation.
My bad, it was 93. Sorry, 93.
Okay. Kind, thank you. That's it. I got to get this down. I got to put this back in my memory. That's why we go over scriptures over and over. Because you'll forget. Just like in the book of Jude, he says, though you once knew this, but you must be taught again. You know, in Hebrews it says the same thing. So we got to. That's why we have to constantly go over scriptures to refresh our memory. Because the way that the Most High created us, he created us to forget. That's why you have to constantly read and study. This is Acts chapter 9, verse 1. And Saul, yet breathing out, threshing, and slaughter against the disciples of the Most High, went into the high priest, and desired of him letters to Damascus to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Yahushua, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. And Saul rose from the earth, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man, but they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus. Now when Paul came to, a man came and told him what he must do. And guess what he was supposed to do? Instead of bounding up the children of Israel for Yahushua's name, he was to teach the gospel for Yahushua's name. So that was a vision. See, these visions come on us. Just like that. Change your whole life. Just like that. So guess what, brothers and sisters? Same thing happened to you. You received a vision to go and teach the people who they were and who they are today. It's the same thing. Why? Because our people are in rebellion today. Huge rebellion. Let's go to Jonah, the book of Jonah. This is what's causing us to continue to get spewed out of the Most High's ways. We already been spewed out of the land. You know? Now, we're getting spewed out of his favor. Because of what? Because of rebellion. This rebellion is taking us apart. Let's go to Jonah, the book of Jonah, chapter 1 and verse 1. Jonah 1 and 1. Now the word of the Most High came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Most High, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he prayed the far thereof, and went down into it, to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. But the Most High sent out a great wind into the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken. So this is when you go against his vision. So any of those other prophets could have did the same thing. They could have, when they got that information, they could have took off the other way. But what happened? What happened? The Most High put judgment on Jonah. He put judgment on them. And when he put that judgment on them, guess what? He turned them right back around. He lucky he had mercy on them. Now, if Jonah had kept running and never went to Nineveh, something worse could have came upon Jonah, possibly even death, because he refused to do the work of the Most High. See? Let's go to Habakkuk. Habakkuk. See, the prophets, they had some kind of rebellion going on too. They were afraid. They didn't want to deal with the people. They wanted to be, stuck in their old regular lives, just doing what they were doing. They didn't want to go teach the people. But they knew if the Most High called, they had to respond. Right? Let's go to Habakkuk, chapter 1 and verse 1. Let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1. Chapter 2 and verse 1. This is what Habakkuk said. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, to see who will say to him what. That's Yahweh. He's waiting on the vision. And what I shall answer when I am reproved. See, corrected. And the Most High answered me and said, write the vision. Write the what? The vision, the prophecy. And make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. He wrote this down for us. That's why I said, when you ain't doing nothing, read the scripts. When you read the scriptures, you're going to run. It'll wake you up. You may not want to do it. You're going to fight all you can not to read the scriptures. But you know what that is? It's just rebellion and laziness. That's what it is, rebellion and laziness. Y'all think about it. It's not hard to just sit down and read your Bible. But a lot of people just sit down and grab the remote to turn on the TV. That's easier. They feel like that's easier than opening up the Bible. They're reading. I know I need to read. Walk right by the Bible. Walk right by it. Go into the other room, grab the remote, sit down, watch TV, watch the one-eyed monster, the Cyclops. And the TV be watching you half the time. But if you read your scriptures, it'll wake you up. Because there's always something in this book that's going to rattle you. Verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not aright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Who is that one that's lifted up against us? It's the ones who have taken us into captivity. But remember, the Most High said, he didn't shoo us out of the land for our hurt. He shooed us out of the land for our rebellion to be placed into captivity. It wasn't for our hurt, but it was to be placed into captivity because we rebelled. That's the whole reason why we went into captivity. Rebellion. That rebellion is a mother. Let's go to 1 Samuel. Actually, let's go back to Psalms, where we're going to originally go. So when you look at all the prophets, they originally got a vision, and they acted upon that vision. They responded. Okay? This is Psalms chapter 107, and let's go to verse 11. Psalms 107 and verse 11. It says, because they rebelled against the words of the Most High and condemned the counsel of the Most High. How do you condemn the counsel of the Most High? Not paying attention to it. Doing something wicked and knowing it's wicked and not repenting. That's a way to rebel. You should be repentant. Right? Not taking on a burden of your brother is another way of rebelling. Let me show you. Let's go to Philemon. The book of Philemon. It just popped in my mind. Book of Philemon. Find Philemon. Let's go to Philemon chapter 1 and verse 18. Listen to this. It says, I'll start at 17. It says, if thou count me therefore a partner, receive him as myself. Okay, so if you got a brother in the truth or a sister in the truth, you should receive them as you. I mean, you're one body, right? One body. Verse 18. If he have wronged you or oweth thee out, put that on my account. This is what Paul said. He said, look, man, my brother did you wrong, and he not big enough to apologize. Put it on my account. I'll take over, man. Come on, man. You know, I got it. I'll pay for it. Don't worry about it. You can't afford it. I got it. That's brotherly love. That's brotherly love. That's what Yahushua did for his brother. See that? So we can repay things for our brother. We can ask repentance for our brother. If we know our brother, if we know that they're trying, we can ask for repentance for them. Okay? Only if they're trying to do it. If they're not trying to do it, it's not going to do any good. But you can ask for a little more mercy. Okay? Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 15. See, that's another way of getting that rebellion off of each other. Get Satan away from you. Get that judgment off of you. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 23. 1 Samuel 15, verse 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of the Most High. He hath also rejected thee from being king. Now, when it says that rebellion is as if it's witchcraft, and also it said it's just like idolatry. Now, in the Garden of Eden, what was Satan doing to Eve? He was selling her what? An idolatry ship basket. He was telling her she could be like a god. That's what he was doing. That's a form of idolatry. Guess what that is? Rebellion. That is the first law that was broken. Trying to be like the Most High. Trying to be better than the Most High. You know what I'm saying? That's a form of rebellion. So we have to be careful of that. That's what happened in the Garden of Eden. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 17. Proverbs chapter 17. Let's go to verse 11 in Proverbs chapter 17. Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 11. Proverbs 17:11. An evil man seeketh only rebellion. Therefore, a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. See that? What happened to Adam and Eve? They got sent out by evil angels. They came to bring judgment. Kicked them out of the garden. Okay? Kicked them out of the garden, man. That's what happened. Let's go to Psalm 78:49. Psalm 78:49. Psalms chapter 78, verse 49. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble, by sending evil angels among them. See that? The Most High sends the evil angels. When you rebel, the Most High is sending them down. Just like I always talk about the book of Job. Job lost everything, right? In the land of Uz, it said in the beginning that Job was the only perfect man in that whole city. The only perfect man. Nobody else was perfect but Job. The said beings who killed the cattle of Job, they wasn't perfect. The evil angels went into the said beings to kill Job's cattle. See that? That's how the evil angels get down. You know, they just go into your mind and tweak your mind a little bit. That's why you got to be careful when you breaking laws, man, or in rebellion. You got to be very careful. Because it's easy to do. All you have to do is just ignore the Most High. That's all you got to do. Ignore him, and it starts. Just like that. It begins. It begins. So this is an example of Israel's rebellion. It's the same thing. It's their rebellion too. Let's go to Deuteronomy 9. Deuteronomy 9, and I want to start at 20. Deuteronomy 9, chapter 9, verse 23. Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 23. I'll start at 23. It says, likewise, when the Most High sent you from Kadesh Barnea, saying, go up and possess the land which I have given you, then you rebelled against the commandment of the Most High your power, and you believed him not, nor hearkened to his voice. He said, man, go take that land. And what did? They did like Jonah. They fled the other way. All that does is just anger the Most High. That just angers him. It says, you have been rebellious against the Most High from the day that I knew you. Look at that. Look at Moses. It says, thus I fell down before the Most High 40 days and 40 nights, as I fell down at the first, because the Most High said he would destroy you. He said, I prayed therefore unto the Most High, and said, O my power, destroy not thy people and thy inheritance, which thou hast redeemed through thy greatness, which thou hast brought forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand. He says, remember thy servants Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Look not unto the stubbornness of this people, nor to their wickedness, nor to their sin, lest the land whence thou brought us out, say, because the Most High was not able to bring them in to the land which he promised them, and because he hated them. How did he hate them? Because they rebelled. Remember what he said in Exodus chapter 20, when he said, hating those unto the third and fourth generation that hate me. What does that mean? When you're not keeping his commandments, you hate him, and so he hates you back. People say, don't use that word hate. That's not a nice word. Don't use that. Guess what? The Bible uses it. People all over the world use the Bible. And the Bible says that the Most High hates. It says that he hates the sound of their viols, their trumpets, their horns. Right? He says he hates it. Just like he just said here. He said he hates Israel when they hate him. Whew, that's heavy, man. It says, and because he hated them, he had brought them out to slay them in the wilderness. Yet they are thy people and thy inheritance, which thou broughtest out by thy mighty power and by the stretched out arm. So this is what the Most High is saying. Let's look at some more about how Moses already predicted how Israel was. Let's go to Deuteronomy 31 and 27. Since we're on that. Deuteronomy chapter 31 and 27. He said he already knew that Israel rebelled when he saw them at first. That's how stubborn we were. Just like today. You look at us and tell who got a lustful mind. You just look at the eyes of a man. The eyes say it all, man. The eyes say it all. Deuteronomy 31 and 27. For I know thy rebellion and thy stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you this day, ye have been rebellious against the Most High. And how much more after my death? He said, when I die, how much more are you going to be wicked? That's why he says we're just going to go in captivity in the last days. These are the last. This is the most wickedest time, man. We're amongst the heathen. They doing stuff to the cattle. They getting rid of bulls, put sperm in the cows, right? They separating the genes now by certain technological machines that separates the bulls away from the female chromosomes. And they're just impregnating all these female cows with these female chromosomes. Because the female cows are worth more than the bulls now. They don't need any bulls anymore. So they're just impregnating these cows without the actual event of the bull and the female cow, creating babies. They just totally took that whole thing out. Right? They just totally messed up the whole ecosystem by doing that. So if they're doing that with cows, guess what? They're already doing it with humans. They're destroying the world, the heathens, all because of us, because of our rebellion. We're all moaning and crying about it, but it's our rebellion. It's our rebellion. When those people that you see, those brothers and sisters are out there, and they look at homosexuals and they be like, that's just wrong. We'll be like, brother, you believe in the Bible? You say it's wrong. You must believe in the Bible. Let them know. That's an opportunity to get them. Like, oh man, you don't believe in homosexual either? Man, you must believe in the Bible. Then you show them the truth. Look for avenues and ways to get into our people to stop that rebellion. Okay? There's ways to get to them. So, I mean, this is some stuff, man. We're living in the last days. Living in the last days. Let's go to John 5 and 45. Because that was about Moses. Let's see what scriptures talk about Moses in the New Testament. People say, oh, well, you ain't supposed to follow Moses. Okay? This is John 5, chapter 5, verse 45. John chapter 5, verse 45. And this is what Christ said, Hamashiach. I'll start at 45. It says, do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you, even Moses, whom you trust. Even Moses is going to accuse you, just like he did back in Deuteronomy. He says, you guys are already rebellion. He accused Israel to the Father back then. Back then, when he was up there for 40 days and 40 nights, he accused Israel of going off. But then he stood in the way. It says, hey, like Philemon in 1:18. He says, I'll take your ransom. He says, I'll take care of them. We got to step in the way, man. We got to step in the way of our brothers and our sisters. That's what Hamashiach did, right? We got to do the same thing. And that's hard. That's hard to do. Verse 45, and let's go to 46. John 5 and 46. For had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if ye believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words? See that? So what was his writings? Let's see who believed. Let's go to John 1 and 45. Let's see who believed what Moses wrote. The book of John, chapter 1 and verse 45. It says, Philip findeth Nathanael, and saith unto him, we have found him whom Moses in the law and the prophets did write, Yahushua of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. That's what he was talking about. How can you believe Yahushua if you didn't know that Moses wrote of him? Moses wrote of him. The disciples knew this. That's why they followed him. 46. And Nathanael said unto him, can there any good thing come out of Nazareth? Philip saith unto him, come and see. Yahushua saw Nathanael coming to him and saith of him, behold, an Israelite indeed, whom is no guile, no rebellion. No rebellion. See that? No iniquity, no wickedness. Because all the other people wasn't following Yahushua, remember? Go to John 1 and 11. John 1 and 11. It reads, he came unto his own, and his own received him not. Why? Because of rebellion. He was pro-Israelite. He didn't go to everybody else. He said he came unto his own. Show somebody that. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of the Most High, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of men, but of Yahweh. Okay? So we have to understand, we have to believe on what we read, because it's other scriptures. To do away with rebellion, we got to follow his word. All right? Let's go to Isaiah 1 and 20. The book of Isaiah 1 and 20. Book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 20. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword. And the sword could be the gun, it could be the knife, it could be the pen, it could be the police, it could be a gangbanger, it could be anybody, it could be your girlfriend, right? But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword. For the Most High, the mouth of the Most High has spoken it. See? The Most High is telling you, if you rebel, that meant that you refuse. That's why we got to be on our P's and Q's, Akim. Got to be there, man. Let's go to Baruch, the book of Baruch. In the Apocrypha. If you have an Apocrypha, if you don't have one, you could go online and pull up the Apocrypha, the King James 1611 Apocrypha, and I have the book of Baruch in there. This is a book of Baruch, chapter 4, and we're going to go to verse 7. Baruch 4 and 7. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils, and not to the Most High. Ye have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nourished you. For when she saw the wrath of the Most High coming upon you, she said, Hearken, O ye that dwell upon Zion, the Most High hath brought upon me great mourning. See? For I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting brought upon them. Who brought that destruction on the people? The Most High. Why? Because of rebellion. With joy did I nourish them, but sent them away with weeping and mourning. Let no man rejoice over me, a widow and forsaken of many, who for the sins of my children left desolate, because they departed from the law of the Most High. So we all know that the whole nation of Israel is a woman to the Most High. Okay? So he's calling us a widow. He said, look, man, y'all not following my ways. Y'all not doing what I asked you to do. Okay? So we got to walk in his ways. Can't be slipping and sliding and stop walking the way that he wants us to walk. We gotta do what he say do. Verse 13. Verse 12. Let no man rejoice over me, a widow and forsaken of me, who for the sons or sins of my children am left desolate, because they departed from the law of the Most High. Now, did he say the Gentiles departed from the law? He says us, the Israelites. The law was for Israel. They knew not his statutes, nor walked in the ways of the commandments, nor trod in the paths of his discipline in his righteousness. Let them that dwell about Zion come, and remember ye the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting hath brought upon them. For he hath brought a nation upon them from afar, a shameless nation and a strange language, who neither reverence the old man nor pity the child. And we read that in Deuteronomy 28 all day. Okay? This is a very destructive nation that we're living amongst. It says, these have carried away the dear beloved children of the widow, and left her that was alone, desolate, without daughters. But what can I help you? He said, can I help you? How can I help you? You can't help yourself. How can I help you? For he that brought these plagues upon you will deliver you from the hands of your enemies. See, that's the problem. When we here in this land, we're trying to show our people, look, we all have to change, man, to get this destruction off of us. It says, go your way, O my children, go your way, for I am left desolate. I have put off the clothing of peace, and put upon me the sackcloth of my prayer. I would cry unto the everlasting in my days. Be of good cheer, O my children, cry unto the Most High, and he shall deliver you from the power and hand of the enemies. For my hope is in everlasting, that he will save you. And joy is coming to me from the Holy One, because of the mercy which shall soon come unto you from the everlasting our Savior. That's what we're waiting on. Who's the Savior? Hamashiach Yahushua. Hamashiach Yahushua is our Savior. Okay? That's why we have to believe what was written in the book of the law. It didn't say that it just said Yahushua. Yahushua was written in the law. That was the law, statutes, and commandments. For I sent you out with mourning and weeping, but the Most High will give you to me again with joy and gladness forever. Like as now, the neighbors of Zion have seen your captivity. Who are the neighbors of Zion? Those are not the Israelites. Those are the Gentiles. They have seen you in captivity all these years. They know what you've been through. We went into captivity in Spain and Portugal and sent to Italy by accident again to go back into captivity. Sent to Africa to be sold by pirates. Right? We were resold over and over and over again. It says, like as now the neighbors of Zion have seen your captivity, so shall they see shortly your salvation from our power, which shall come upon you with great glory and brightness of the everlasting. My children, suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from the Most High. It says, suffer patiently. Listen to that poetic justice. He says, suffer patiently. That's like putting a knife in you slowly. Don't say nothing. Keep it quiet. And you're just slowly putting that knife in you. You know what I mean? He says, suffer patiently. For thine enemy have persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction and shalt tread upon his neck. He said, we're going to tread upon our enemy's neck. See? 26. My delicate ones have gone rough ways and were taken away as a flock caught of the enemies. Be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto Yahweh, for you shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. For as it was your mind to go astray from the Most High, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. That's what you got to do when you're having hard times. You got to seek him 10 times more during this tribulation. And the thing about tribulation, it's just like Job, man. You're going to lose a lot of things, man, in this life. And you're going to get it back. It's going to come back even more beautiful the next time you get it. And that's what we have to understand. In this life is ups and downs, man. When you're going through mourning, you're going to mourn. You're going to see like it's the end of the earth. Like, you're never going to get it back. And the Most High turn around and give it right back to you. Right back. You know what I mean? All right, verse 29. For he that brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy again with your salvation. Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort you. Miserable are they that afflicted you and rejoiced at thy fall. Miserable are the cities which thy children serve. That's these cities that we're in now. All these cities around the earth, they're miserable because of us. Right? We're miserable because of these cities. It says, miserable is she that received thy sons, right? Look at all the crime going on in these cities, man. You turn on the TV, it's crazy. And people are driving, I don't know if it's just me, but people are driving worse and worse on the freeways. Man, this is crazy how people are driving. They don't even stop at the stop signs no more. They just blow right through the stop signs. Red lights too. It's crazy, man. It says, for as she rejoiced at the ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall be grieved for her own desolation. For I will take away the rejoicing of the great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure. And she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time. Who's that sound like? It says she shall be inhabited by devils. That's plural. It's not singular. People think it's just the devil. It's devils. Diablos, plural. Why is it plural? Because he's running rampant, man. There's demons all over the place now. Everywhere. People practicing brujeria, santeria. You know, they're practicing all these witchcrafts. You got all these things going on now, man. People believe in that demonic stuff. All these different Mormonisms and Christianities. And you got all kinds of stuff out there now. All right? That's why he says devils. They'll be inhabited with devils for a great time. O Jerusalem, look about thee toward the east, and behold, the joy that cometh unto thee from the Most High. Lo, thy sons come, whom thou sentest away. They come gathered together from the east to the west, by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of the Most High. That's why this word is important. We got to speak this word, man. You got to understand, everyone's going to be judged for their rebellion. You know? Rebellion of what? Of not following his laws, statutes, and commandments. Everyone's going to be judged. Let's go to Numbers 14 and 9. That rebellion is something. Numbers 14, verse 9. Numbers 14 and 9. Only rebel not ye against the Most High, neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Most High is with us. Fear them not. Okay? But all the congregation bad stoned them with stones, and the glory of the Most High appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel. So you had all these people who was rebelling against them. The Most High told them to go on the land, take it over from the Canaanites. But all of Israel rebelled. They were throwing stones at these brothers and sisters. They said, we're going to go and take this place over. They were just following the orders of the Most High. You see, our brethren rebelled against them. Let's go to the book of Daniel. That's why the Most High, you don't need a lot of brothers pushing this word and this truth. You don't need a lot of people. You just need a few. Right? You just need a few. A few good men, a few good women. That's all they need. He just wants somebody who's diligent and who's going to stand. Let's go to Daniel chapter 9 and 9. Daniel chapter 9, verse 9. It says, to the Most High our power belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Most High thy power, to walk in his laws, which he set before us, by his servants the prophets. Yes, all Israel has transgressed the law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us. Deuteronomy 28. And the other that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him, and he hath confirmed his words which he spoke against us, and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done, as hath been done upon Jerusalem, as it is written in the law of who? Moses. All this evil is come upon us. Yes, made we not our prayer before the Most High thy power, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand what? The truth. That's what we have to do, understand his truth. Let's go to Romans 8 and 7. All we got to do is turn, man. And he said, do it hastily, do it quickly. Romans chapter 8, verse 7. Romans 8 and 7. Because the carnal mind is enmity against the Most High, for it is not subject to the law of the Most High, neither indeed can be. So that's why when you talk to your relatives about not eating pork, crab, shrimp, keeping these feast days, you know, doing his ways, doing his laws, they get mad at you. Because they have to change. They don't change, And they'll never understand. They'll never understand. Let's go to Psalms. Actually, you know what I want? Let's go to 2nd Ezra. We're going to read this chapter and we're going to end it with this. 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha. In the book of 2nd Ezra. Please ask for this. 2nd Ezra chapter 4 and verse 37. 2nd Ezra chapter 4 and verse 37. We're going to read this whole bit of this chapter, and we're going to end at the end of it. 2nd Ezra 4 and 37. By measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times, and he doth not move nor stir them, until the said measure be fulfilled. Just like he said in Genesis chapter 11. Let's go there real quick and we'll come right back. Let me show you. The book of Genesis. It's the same thing that happened in the beginning of time. Okay? Same thing. 11 and 5. This is Genesis chapter 11, verse 5. It says, And the Most High came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Most High said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Why is nothing going to be restrained? Because the Most High has a measure of number. See, the sin has to be accumulated. He's not going to stir the sin up. He's not going to tamper with the sin. He's going to let it grow until it reaches its max. It has to reach its full measure. Just like the children of Israel has to have 144,000 elect. He's not going to do it. He's just going to continue to let it establish itself until it reaches its full measure. Okay? That's why this man of this earth, you know, is able to do the things that they're doing. They got planes that look like spaceships. They got drones everywhere. You know what I'm saying? They're working on invisible planes now that can morph. You know, they're working on all kinds of stuff, man. So, I mean, the Most High said He's going to let them accomplish whatever they put their minds to do until it reaches that full measure. So they're going to do some wonderful things that you can't even imagine. I mean, looking at a 747 or an Airbus plane, looking at an Airbus plane, which is one of the biggest planes, you look at that thing and when you see it, you say to yourself, how can that even get off the ground? As big and heavy as that thing look, it's defying the laws of what? Nature, of man. It's doing it. But the Most High is allowing them to do it. He's allowing them to do it so they can reach their full number. Okay? Let's go back to 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra chapter 4 and 37 again. By measure hath he measured the times, and by numbers hath he numbered the times, and he doth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. Then answered I and said, O thy power that bears rule, even we all are full of impiety. And for our sakes, perhaps it is that the floors of the righteous are not filled. See that? We're waiting on that to be filled up, y'all. Because of the sins of them that dwell upon the earth. The sin is also climbing. Just like the saints are growing, so is the sin. That's why it's getting harder to wake people up. It says, so he answered me and said, Go thy way to a woman with child, and ask of her, when she hath fulfilled her 9 months, if her womb may keep the birth any longer within her. Then said I, Know thy power, that can she not. And he said unto me, In the grave the chambers of the souls are like the womb of a woman. For like as a woman that travaileth maketh haste to escape the necessity of the travail, even so do these places haste to deliver those things that are committed unto them. So just like a woman in her 9th and 10th month, She can't stop that baby from coming out. That baby coming out. Nothing she can do about it, but she has to reach that full number of the months of those cycles. Verse 43, from the beginning, look what thou desirest to see. It shall be showed thee. Then answered I and said, if I found favor in thy sight, and if it be possible, and if I be meet, therefore, show me then whether there be more to come than past, or more past than is to come. What is past I know, but what is for to come I know not. And he said unto me, stand up upon the right side, and I shall expound the similitude unto you. Similitude is like a riddle. So I stood and saw, and behold, a hot burning oven passed by before me. And it happened that when the flame was gone by, I looked, and behold, the smoke remained still. After this, there passed by before me a watery cloud, and sent down much rain with the storm. And when the storm rain was past, and the drops remained still, check this out. Then said he unto me, consider with thyself, as the rain is more than the drops, and as the fire is greater than the smoke, but the drops and the smoke remain behind. So the quantity which is past did more exceed. Then I prayed and said, may I live, thinkest thou, until that time? Or what shall happen to those days, in those days? He answered me and said, as for the tokens whereof thou hast asked me, I may tell thee of them in part. But as touching thy life, I am not sent to show thee, for I do not know it. Even the angel said, I don't know what's going to happen to your life. But everybody's destined to die. It's just a matter of when. No one can take your life away until the destined time. That smoke and them raindrops, that's the elect. After the fire is gone, the smoke remains, right? The drops remain. That's the number of Israel that's going to remain. All right? But no one can take your life away. So if you change your life, you know, the destined time that you have, it is. That's why you can go out and do certain things and escape, because it's not your time. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're praying to the Most High. The Most High is granting you more time to be on the earth to wake up more people. You know? It's just like Brother Barzal and Anash, and I believe it was Brother Obadiah. They spoke to a brother in Fairfield, a young brother, about the truth. And the brother died like 2 weeks later. But guess what? He had the opportunity to change before he died. That was his destined time to die. Nothing you can do about it. So rebellion is a trip. So you're going to rebel to the end and die and not get any salvation? Or you're going to change your ways? Because rebellion is taking us all out. It's taking more of us out that's in the world that's not in the truth. But you know what? In the truth too. It's getting to us too. So we got to change our ways too that's in the truth. And with that, I'm going to say shalom, all praises to this lesson that went out. I pray this was a blessing to some of you brothers and sisters that are listening. To all of you, actually. And are there any questions, comments, and statements that want to be made, or any upcoming things any brothers and sisters want to talk about before we close out?
Shalom, and this is Yahar. Just want to say, the water for bringing this, this short lesson is good and powerful. I mean, good scripture, good reflection that we can look upon, especially to see ourselves. It's just very timely. Thank you for that. Hallelujah for you bringing this lesson out.
All praise to the Most High for putting it on me, man. Shoot. Yep. So,
now, I just want to say something to it. This is it's something that someone has put out, and I've been spending a lot of it. You all may be seeing it too, especially if you watch a little television. But they're saying there's a lot of seeds that are being planted through that one-eyed cyclops, as you called it, and it's not necessarily good, and it causes a lot of rebellion, a lot of those tendencies, especially amongst the children of Israel. With the homosexual acts and all that being accepted, but they also are showing us a flood of it, and it's purposefully done to show a lot of mixed marriages. I'm telling you, if you look at television now, you will see a lot of that is being displayed. And again, there are some brothers who didn't know, and they before, when they were in their rebellious state, and they didn't know they was rebellious, but they took on foreign or other wives. But it's amazing how it's now portraying. I mean, almost every other commercial, I ain't gonna say every other one, that's exaggerated, but it's a lot more than it used to be, where they're blatantly showing it. So, and I saw when they were saying that was going to be coming about. That was about a month ago, and now it's just all over the place. So it's again teaching. I mean, all the things are being planted to cause Israel to continue to rebel. So I just wanted to just throw that out there. I'm not sure if you all been noticing that or not. But,
good point.
That's all I wanted to share with everybody.
Yeah, good point, man. Good point. I've been seeing it too. And the 5% of them, when they're on TV, they almost look like the 95% because they're showing it so much. And to us normal people, normal meaning heterosexual men and heterosexual women, it's like you said, it's planting seeds in the children mind and those who are weak in the heterosexual world. It's planting seeds in their minds that it's okay to even be like that, even if they wanted to experiment with it. They feel like they can get away with it. But just like we read in the scriptures, these cities have been set up to be miserable for us. They've been set up that way because of our rebellion. So, we're never going to see sunshine in these cities. It's always going to be a miserable state of mind. Every day, it's going to get worse and worse. People in the world don't want to hear people say what we're saying right now, but it's the truth. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. You know what I mean? Until that measure is full. So we just got to suffer patiently, like the Most High said. We have to suffer patiently, man, and have our faith in Hamashiach Yahushua and the law, statutes, and commandments, and we'll be able to get delivered out of here.
I've been seeing that too. A lot of the commercials with Esau and wasn't it? I just be like, wow, man. And some commercials you'll see, they will. I'm trying to think. I don't know if it's insurance or if it's I can't remember what it was, but I know they show like two men. You know what I mean? But it was like a quick blink. You didn't recognize it, you'll be like, oh, they would show like the families, and they'll show like the two guys. I can't remember what the commercial was, but they put a little bit of that in there too, man.
Yeah, not the.
It's definitely part of it, man.
Yeah,
the one I saw recently had to do with this. It was a Caucasian guy. They first showed it's a medical commercial. It's a new one. It's only been out like a week, or maybe two at the most. But it's on all the time, especially between newscasts and whatnot. And they have this male, this Caucasian, that is. They first showed them with his wife, who was Judah, and then the rest of the scenes is him with the daughter. And they go everywhere. They go to the nice car. He lives a nice lifestyle. He goes to the bakery and buy a cupcake. They sit down, and they're always hand in hand, and they're walking. And, it's just subtle. And what ain't really subtle, that's really just out there. I can just imagine what all the rest of the Edomites are saying in about when you see that, But it's just, they're just, I can't remember which medicine they're pushing, but it's some type of medicine that they're pushing that, anyway, it's just, it's just a trip. Just be on the lookout and watchful for those things. They've been doing it, planting those seeds, and it makes it like that measure that the scripture talked about that Shema 1 brought out. I can really see that now. You know how it's just allowing to just where it's just like normal. You know, and everything that's wicked and everything that's rebellious is considered normal and acceptable. So therefore, when soldiers and saints are out there, like you all out on the street and been out when we're out talking to people about it, it makes the resistance like that wound that was talked about. It ain't no point when they can heal it. You know, it's just crazy. So I don't know. It's something else.
Yeah, another thing I've been saying too, Akim, is the transgender. They got so many movie stars now, man, that are transgender that you don't even know half of them are transgenders. And that's another thing that's being pushed. You know, men becoming women and women becoming men. You know, and that's a scary thought for the children. And really what it is, it's another way of trapping heterosexual men and women who are not looking for it. And they can get caught up that way. You know, so we're in some scary times, Akim.
I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.